Welcome everybody to the Human Performance Lab. So, I've had a few trades here and there throughout the day. I am looking for a potential short reversal here. I'm not liking how price is behaving right now, but there is a reason for this position. I just don't know how much downward movement we're going to get, or how much of a pullback here we're going to get. We will see. But it's not looking all that good at the moment. So we'll see what happens here. I'm looking for the test up here to VPOC on the previous bar. And if that breaks, anticipate buyers to be strong in this market. If it holds, anticipate this previous low to be broke. And if the low breaks, then we're looking pretty good for this position. Look for possibility of 800 to be tested again, but I don't like what it's doing right now. So we will continue watching this and kind of wait and see what happens here. Little rejection off of the highs here. Coming back down for the open, look at Delta. Delta is nice, strong to the downside. Let's see if we can keep that momentum coming in with the Delta. But see how that Delta is really strong and we didn't come down and test into the lows down here? That could be some support beneath us. And we start seeing buying in here, we could come up here and break this high. Small risk, but I do want to put a stop in because that's exactly what I was anticipating. Price action to possibly pop up there and break that high. So the whole reason for that position was this. When you look at your longer term charts right now, and you go back into around the July 23rd area, we have lows over there. And we came into those lows and tested into them and came off of them pretty hard, pretty quickly, pretty swiftly. I was looking for a pullback there and a possible continuation to test into the lows. But today's buying pressure is just too strong to make that happen. Very small risk on the position. And so now we will just wait and see what happens here. But it's looking like we're going to continue higher. Doesn't look like we're going to get a end of day sell off. And if we do get an end of day sell off, it's going to be a little bit later. I'm just watching this here. I was in at 918 on a short from this area right up in here. And there's the lower low. So it's just basically a retest of the highs, kind of a little shakeout pattern there. I'm not going to go out and say that there was a stop run or anything like that. Just kind of a shakeout pattern, and then price action coming back down and testing into the lows here. Let's see if we get into the 900 area. That's where I was looking for price to go down to, is about the 900. Let's see if we get that or not. But strong up day. I was long earlier today in an earlier session around, I took long positions around 10:30, got shaken out of one of my longs, didn't stay in it long enough, kind of like what happened here. I got in about 9 points higher than I wanted to get into, around 7 to 9 points. It felt like I chased it a little bit in that context. And so I got out with kind of a break even. And then, of course, we know what happened the rest of the day. price action is just up. And my entry was around it was before the 600 area. And I was looking for 29,000 today is where I was looking for price to get to. Got pretty close to it. Pretty close. This was an area right here that I was looking for resistance, was around 956. We did see that resistance come in, a little bit higher than that, but we did see the resistance come in. And then I was looking for a potential target of 900, around 29,005, 29,000 even, right around in those areas. And now we're seeing price action trailing off here a bit. So took that little bit of an expense there in that first position. And I'm just kind of waiting to see if we're going to get another possible pullback or not for another entry. Hope everybody's having a great day today. Happy trading to everybody. Hope everybody is staying safe out there in the markets. Stayed safe on potential short positions. So we were looking at a possible breakout and trend day today from the 10 to 11 o'clock session. And the main reason for that is just the longer term chart. So daily chart was above its open. We had a nice big up move in both the hourly and the 240-minute charts, the 4 hours. So, we were looking for long positions today, and sure enough, that's what we've been getting. I was up a little over 500 today. Should have been a much better day. I got shaken out of one of my longs earlier in the day, and then I just took a $64 hit looking for a short position right here in this area and got stopped out on that little up move there, the little up rejection, and then prices come back down. But I don't know if I'm interested in shorting this here. I see a lot of strength in this market right now, and we're back above the close on the 4-hour chart. And so I'm anticipating that there's a higher probability of the highs of 278 to be taken out comparatively to the lows of 892, but we will definitely see. I don't see a long forming here on the short-term charts, but I definitely see a continuation play to the upside playing out with a higher probability than the shorts coming in and the sellers coming in and taking this market back down through the 892 area. So be careful on the short side. And hunt for potential long positions. Yeah. I was really looking at entering long there, 07.5. That'd been a nice injury. In hindsight, that would have been a really nice injury. Just kind of in one of those areas, right? It's kind of one of those areas where we kind of go both sides. We had that rejection at the highs there. We came in, we broke these lows in here. Look at the low volume down here, right? We have the higher volume coming in here, and that's why I was looking at entry here. And by the time I was looking at entering, I really wanted to be above here, and by then it just moved, right? And I didn't want to be that far away from the lows down in here, so I just waited. What I was thinking about doing was entering off of a limit order right here in this area. I just didn't enter it. That's when I was saying I was looking for an entry, and then by the time I was looking at entering up here in this area, it was already gone. Hey Connor, how's it going? Say good day to pass an eval, or is there enough price action? Oh, there's plenty of price action. We're doing nothing but moving higher. I took a shot in the dark on a short up here. Um, just where we were located at on the hourly, looking back to about July 22nd, July 23rd area. I did get stopped out on that with about a $64 expense today, but I was up about 500. Now I'm up 408 on the day, and I was hunting a long position right down in here, but my fill would have been too high when this market just started to bust up to the upside there. So I should have entered with my limit order right here. I was really contemplating it. I just didn't do it. Hey, Metals, how's it going? Welcome back, guys. Or should I say welcome back to myself, since I was the one that was gone. Good to be back, though. It feels good to be back here. I missed it. Let's see. I need gold signals. So yeah, that's what I have going on for the day. Still looking for long positions. I was looking at this morning in the 10 to 11, the US session that I did live. I was looking at 29,009 as the target for today. I did take a long position and I got shaken out of it. So didn't get that much of a revenue. And that was in a short too from the, where was my short from? I was in a short this morning from around the 628 area. I got a couple $100 out of that move. So market still has room to 29,000. If you can find an entry for a long position. Up 4 funded accounts and working on trade day daily metals. Well done. Well done. Well done. How long did that take you to get your 4 funded? Beautiful. Beautiful. I'll have Vito on this week. He is in New York right now, so he is unavailable at the moment, but I am definitely going to be talking to him this week, and we're going to be getting him onto the stream as well. Well, that's a good start, Connor. That's definitely a good start. About a week trading NQ off the ranges. I did go in heavy though because they are 150,000 account. Yeah, absolutely. I am on YouTube. Yes, Metals Trader. The same handle. Live the return. It should be on the screen as well for TikTok there underneath my my picture. Well, for the trading view, you're gonna want. And I'm going to have to end up doing this as well if I'm going to be working with Vito. He's going to make it mandatory as well. But I was looking at it, and you're going to need the volume candles. And so when you look at the last one, right, the ultimate package, right, you got the tick-based intervals. We weren't working with tick-based. Ability to buy professional market data, we don't need that. And the first priority support. So I would go into the premium because you are going to need the volume candles, the volume footprint. Well, not the volume candles, but the volume footprints. A tie price opportunity, possibly. I'm not quite sure if he uses that or not. And that's only going to be on the premium version. It's not going to be on the plus. So that's what I would do. You got the premium? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to have to go ahead and do the same thing and bite the bullet, I believe, is what I'm going to need to do. Now, be careful here, okay? Be careful here. We've got some sellers in the market. We got some rejection, but look, we came in, barely crossed over the close of the previous bar and already coming in and breaking the lows. So be careful in this area. We do have some sellers in the market at the moment. 15-second candles, yeah. Um, like a lot of people use like the 40 range or something like that. I just find them to be way too fast, way too fast. I'm not quite sure what entry uh chart Vito is using. Let me see here. I was going to look at something. What was it? Let's see. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to do. So just so everybody knows, an updated on results, you can see my my trading day today already on the screen, and this is from the last 2 weeks. There it is. Let me get this over so everybody on TikTok can see it. There we go. So if I bring this down here and over, now we should all be able to see it. Yeah, there we go. So that's the last 2 weeks. Bring it up so everybody can see it on. There we go. So that's the last 2 weeks. And here's that down I was just talking about. Holding the lows right now, the previous lows. But this was kind of that down move I was looking at when I went short to begin with. We just had one more up move before they decided to come in and start taking lows out. So that's the results. Right now, I'm on 150,000 select. I need 9,000. I'm up right now 145.70 or 154. So 45.75 in the account right now. So about halfway there. About halfway there in 150,000 select. The reason why I picked up 150,000 select was because it's one of the few evaluations that Tradeify, Lucid, any of the major ones, right? Any one of the ones that use that doesn't have a high watermark trailing drawdown. So that's why I'm using that. And then it has a $4,500 end of day drawdown, and the maximum risk to the account is 4,500, but then you have to make 9,000. So that's why I went with that account, because it has that drawdown, right? And the drawdown is extremely important, and you don't want the high watermark trailing drawdowns either, because that's all for the benefit of the prop firm itself, not for you as a trader. But metals, what I was saying on your 15-second chart, right? I just go ahead and enter off of the minute charts. Like some people use the 40 range charts. It just moves way too fast for me. I can't make heads or tails of that by any stretch of the imagination. And so I do know individuals that run off of the 15-second and 30 seconds and those type of things. And if that works for you, absolutely. keep doing what works for you, my friend. And the fact that you've already passed 4 funded, well done. Well done. So I'm just kind of watching this here. We're kind of in one of those areas right now. We still have room to the upside, but we're starting to get to the point where we're a little bit overextended and looking for a bit of a correction. But I'm not so sure that we're ready to correct yet. You don't use the range either. Yeah. I'm on TV. I use seconds of NinjaTrader. I use nin, Ninja Renkos. The Renko bars are interesting. I used to use the Renkos with a Hakanashi overlay for exits, not for entries, for exits, and I would use um a true range trailing stop on a Hakanashi Renko. Yeah. Yeah, it just smooths price out. And when you're using a trailing stop and you're using a day trading, like I would, you go for 12, 15 points in the ES, right? And then once I was up 3, 4 points, I would move my stop to a break even and then trail it with that Hakanashi range. Um, what was it? Yeah, the Hakanashi overlay on the range bars. That's how we had to do it in Sierra before. I think now they just probably have Hakanashi bars. Much simpler than it used to be. And I still talk about it in terms of how I did it before, which is still much more convoluted and multiple steps. So it's probably just as easy to put a Hakanashi up now. But then I used to, like I said, use the true range. For real, I use them for scalping heavy. I love the noise cutting that they offer, absolutely. The only issue with them, right, is you can get slippage on them if you're waiting for the close of the bar. But if you're entering off of limit orders and off of areas, extremely, extremely helpful. And you can even use areas of even closes, especially in a tight range, and just put a limit order or a stop order above that range of closes. So if it breaks out of that, you can go long. Yeah, there's so many different strategies that you can put together for that. El Sabrino, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hello, TikTok. I do read TikTok chat as well. So if you have questions, let me know. I'm just being very cautious here. This is one of those areas where we're looking for an overextension in the market, right? And so is this going to be a continuation to the downside? I did take a stab at the downside a little while ago at about $64 expense. And now I'm just waiting to see what this market's going to do. But it looks like it's wanting to continue to the downside. And the reason why I was looking for a downside was back off of the, if you go onto a 4-hour chart, you go to I don't know, July 22nd, you'll see those lows, that little range in there, and you'll see those lows in there around the 890 or the 961 range. And we came up and we tested those lows, right? I'm going to bring it over here because I'm talking about it. And I don't like moving all the charts around all the time, but it can be kind of hard to see it on TikTok as well. But right in here, right? If you look at this low, you just kind of just draw a line on it, right? Like that. Look where we went to. That's why I was looking short up here. I was looking for R2 to be hit. But this little range up here, testing in here, I was anticipating some sellers to come in here. Because that's where we broke out of this range before, right? It held and the sellers got aggressive. I was looking for sellers to come back into the market up there. Sure enough, there they were. Just came up and broke highs 2 more times before it decided to do it. Yeah, I learned to use limit orders because slippage was eating at me. Yeah, exactly. When you're using any type of volume, range, Hakanashi, Renko, it doesn't really matter, right? What's happening is those bars are designed to smooth out price. Well, again, when you smooth out price, what are you smoothing it out with? You're smoothing out with a form of time or of ticks or a range, right? And when that happens and a new bar forms, it's got to catch up to the smoothing technology that's being used, and that creates that lag. And then when you have lag, right, you're going to get slippage. And where you have slippage, it's much more difficult to manage your positions. That's why, my favorite positions are to get in at limit orders. But those are more of my, day trades, those type of things. My scalps, I just enter them off of market because I'm just using time anyhow, so it doesn't really matter. I take some slippage, but I'm usually manage that slippage pretty well because I'm pretty tight to the market anyhow. And again, if anybody has any questions, please, please, please let me know. This is a good day right now for questions, just because of where we're at, right? We can still move up into the 29,000 range. We still have that room, but we do have that resistance above us on like the 240. It's also there on the 60-minute, So that resistance is there. Are we going to continue lower, or are we going to move back up here to the 29,000 range? That's the question, right? I just don't have a good read on that at the moment because we're in an imbalanced market condition higher. And what do we do when we're in imbalanced market condition higher? We trade with a trend, which would be on the long sides, right? The only reason why this short is here, and I went short to fade the trend, was because of the area on the 4-hour. Oh, it was a great day. It was a beautiful day. This morning I was talking about it at 10 a.m. and I'm like, the daily chart's already above its open. We came down, we tested into the 400 range. We rejected that 400 range. We're back at the open. The only thing we were waiting for was a 30-minute chart to break out of its range, and sure enough, it did, right? I was long at, I took a short actually this morning at 680, and I picked up a couple $100 on that position. And then I went long as soon as we broke up through here. It was around 38. And I got stopped out on the pullback in here, at pretty much at a break-even trade on my long. I, shouldn't have been that tight to the market, knowing and understanding that we were going to possibly trend. So I definitely mismanaged that a bit. But yeah, today's been an amazing day. And if you're trading with the trend, you should be just fine. And like I told everybody, be careful on your shorts. Be careful on the short side, because we should be looking at a possibility of 29,000 today. And then I also pointed out this area in here too, what we're at right now, or we just came off of the 863, that we could find some resistance into that area. From like a weekly low, pivot low perspective, coming off of our most recent highs, testing back into those highs, what should you expect that area to be tested and possibly break? What price did I go long at? It was around 40 this morning, 640, 640, 638, right around in there. You didn't trade New York today? Yeah. No, I was thinking about not trading New York today. I mean, I got back from my trip late yesterday. I was supposed to stream yesterday, and I got back way late. I'm really tired. I probably, in terms of trading psychology and those type of things, if you track those things, I'm probably too tired to be trading today. I'm just not fully there, intellectually at the moment. So, but I did, and here we are. And that's what I do. So yeah, it was a good entry this morning. It was a good entry. It was terrible trade management, right? But the entry was sound. And then I went short this morning at around, it was around the same price, but it was around 30. So I went short around 30. I rode that down into, it was a 400. I wrote that down to VWAP. It's about a $400 position. I did that based off of this whole setup in here, right? The we moved up into unfair highs on the 30-minute, and we had the low volume node. And so I took that first short entry right through here, and it came down. I was up about 400 on the position. I hit about $200 revenue. And then we broke out of the area to the upside, and that's when it went long. Exactly. Long above 680s were very good because I know NQ was testing the London high since last night. Yep, exactly. Exactly. But with the break, the longs were good. Yes. And that was a whole key, right? We moved into the unfair highs, right? That's an area. It's a key area. It's structure. I had an entry criteria there for a short, absolutely spot on, right? I knew that we were up for the day. We came back down into VWAP. I was targeting VWAP. Came right down into VWAP and then reversed, right? Then we broke out. We got a pullback off of the pullback, we got a pullback back into initial balance, right? Off of the breakout. And that's where I went long, was right down in that area. I just didn't hold it. And that's what trading is, right? You don't know if it's going to be an up day. You don't know if it's going to be a down day. But when we broke out, though, the 4-hour, the 60-minute, everything daily was above its open, everything telling you long. And then that's what I said, when I got off stream, is be careful on the short side. If your trading plan is to short highs, go ahead and follow your plan. Just be very careful. Make sure you wait for enough qualification, because everything right now is looking up. And then sure enough, we've had nothing but an up day. I mean, even now, we're barely off of the highs of the daily perspective. Trending higher on the shorter term frame charts, broke out of value on the 30-minute. And I was anticipating a little bit of a sell-off in the afternoon just because we're pretty close to overextended areas. But yeah, metals, no, you're absolutely spot on. So yeah, that is the day. I will be sure to get some sleep tonight, so I am ready for tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to trade the Asian session tonight just because I am tired. But I will be trading the US session tomorrow morning between 10 and 11. And then I will be trading the, more likely trading the Asia session last night or tomorrow night. I don't know if you saw Vito's post today, but he was long from the 580s, I think, as of Sunday, and he's holding them right now. I think he's in 20 lot right now. He was up like 12,000 earlier today. It's probably closer to 20,000 now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it was beautiful. I've been right there with him, but I was I was gone. Connor, how much do I think Vito makes? Um, Enough. I have no idea, but I know he does well. And one of the beautiful things about Vito is he's not flashy, right? He's not flashy at all. So, you're not going to see him streaming or in around a Lamborghini, right? It's just not going to happen. But he's absolutely at that level. He was in a short position and made a good 20, 30,000 of it. I bet you he is well over six figures a month. Exactly, Metals. Yeah. He does well. Metals has had a conversation with him too, a little bit more than I have in that regard. Um, our conversation was just about, making sure that he and I are who we say we are. And we did that over the phone, and it was such an amazing conversation. I'm like, yeah, this guy is totally legit. You can just tell when you've been in the markets for a while and you're talking to individuals and you're listening to them and what they're talking about and what they're doing. It's like anything else. You can tell. I'm trying to do something at the moment and I'm not seeing it. Do I think I'll take any more trades today? I might. I'm kind of waiting to see what happens here in this area. I want this market to come back up into the highs. 942s is what I'm looking for. And I want to see how it behaves down here while it's doing it. If this market breaks down from this point where it's at right now, no, I won't have any more trades today. So I'm just kind of waiting. Hey, Ram, how's it going? It's good to see you. Should you use gamma levels in scalping to get a bias? You can. That's the only thing gamma's levels are doing is giving you a bias, right? I have my own bias. Exactly, Metals. Thank you. Yeah. But just shorts, that's absolutely one thing that you can do is use gamma for that. And if you don't have a bias for direction of scalping, gamma is not a bad option to use. Hey, Cause, how's it going? Thank you so much for this. Yeah, thank you for being here in the comment in the chat. I have a question. I made something similar because they do not offer crypto anymore. Yeah, I'm after Andre Simi, but he's busy. Could you please review? Sure, absolutely. Let's see here. Let me get Discord for you so you can send that to me on Discord. Let's see. I think that's going to be in here. You should be able to go onto that link there. If you don't see the link, let me know. Type in !Discord, and that will put it into the chat. What do I think of Patrick Whelan saying that order flow is irrelevant? What do you think about me saying ICT is irrelevant? Same thing. We all have an opinion. Yes, I don't know why people want to see if they can find an edge. Nothing is an edge. It's just preference and strat. It really is. There you go. There you go, Cause. Great, thank you. Appreciate it. It really is, right? You got it. You look, guys, trading. And people don't like this answer, right? Because people want to be like, oh well, trading, there's got to be something of an edge. There's got to be something that I can do. There's got to be something that that's going to give me that edge. You guys want to know what the greatest edge is of trading? Put a 1 in the chat if you want to know what the greatest edge is of trading. And I'll tell you what the greatest edge of trading is. I will absolutely tell you what the greatest edge of trading is if you guys want to know. Put a 1 in. Ram wants to know. Only ones who has an edge are big institutions. That's not true, Metals. That's not true at all. Insider trading. You. You're the biggest. You are your biggest edge in trading. You want to know how to trade? You want an edge in trading? Become your own edge. All right? And to do that, you need structure. All right? And in the context of structure, you're going to figure out what works for you. You're going to figure out what you like to see and what you don't like to see. You're going to learn what your perception is. You're going to learn all of that. And when you start learning that and you start putting that together, you're your greatest edge. Stop looking for edges outside of you and start with your perception of what you already see in the charts. Take that to your practice sessions. Practice it. If it's not working well, you need to shift your perception, but don't do it based off of what somebody else is telling you. Have a framework and then utilize what you see, what you perceive within that framework in order to determine how your perception works within the market. Like my perception in the market absolutely 100% sucked when I got started. Okay. And it took me about 5 years for me to adjust my perception to a way that I could start developing a process or creating a structure, a market structure that actually had some validity based upon what the market was doing. But my whole perception was completely off. When I thought the market was going to go up, that damn thing went down. When I thought it was going to go down, it went up. And when I was sure it was going to trend, it went freaking sideways. Okay? I was completely off. My initial perception in trading was completely off. All right? You are your greatest edge. You are your greatest edge. Become that greatest edge. Find a framework that makes sense to you. Utilize that framework. Put it into a structure for you. Learn to create an entry criteria around that structure and practice the hell out of it. And when the market tells you that it's not working well, don't take that as you're losing. Don't take that as you've done something wrong. Take that as feedback of saying, okay, if I want to get good at this, I need to make this structure better. I need to make this framework better. I need to take the way I perceive this idea and make it better. And if you do that, you will get better. You're your greatest edge. I absolutely 100% believe in manifestation, Connor. Yes, 100%. But I don't believe like the secrets version of manifestation, right? Where, believe, receive. I don't even remember what the 3 were, right? What I believe is this. Perception is based upon your subconscious processes. And if your subconscious processes are not aligned to trading, you have to develop new ones. And that's extremely hard to do. And it's why trading is so difficult to do. And the world is not capable of teaching you how to do that because the world, for the most part, they don't know how to do that. They have the ideas like the manifestation. They have the different things along those lines that they think are going to work. But most individuals don't know. They have theories, but very few of them are actually practiced. I've been practicing these theories in the markets for 30 years. I've been practicing manifestation concepts in the markets for 30 years. That's why I'm here, guys. Because what I really want to teach is teach individuals how to manifest something, but not in the context of what we think of a manifestation, a law of attraction, and those type of things. Neuroscience. What neuroscience is telling us. Cutting edge new neuroscience methodologies are telling us exactly what to do. Why don't I use the full-size contracts? I'll show you why. I will show you exactly why I don't use the full-size contracts in the evaluation. Because I could take expense days like this and I can't recover from them. But in the mini contracts, I can. That's why. Easier to manage the risk in these evaluations. The most easy thing in a volatile market is channel trading is the easiest thing I've seen if you get it correct. Yeah, absolutely. The problem is though, Just Shorts, is when you're doing channel trading, right? Or you're saying, in volatile markets, right? Usually by the time you know that you're in a volatile market, that volatility can smooth out. And so once you start channel trading, right, the volatility is already smoothed out. You can get a range of of volatility, right? Or a longer period of volatility, right? But you still have to rely upon that. If you're using VIX and other things along those lines for that, by the time you realize that the volatility is there, a lot of times it starts to smooth out. Okay? But that's why, Connor. How many live funded accounts are you going to have? Well, I'm working on my first evaluation. By the time this is done, I'm going to have at least 5. I'm probably not that far away from getting into the funded and doing that. I'm probably thinking I'm probably a few weeks to a month out, maybe 2 months. I don't think I'm that far. I need to work on my management of my trades. I need to be able to understand and be able to shift between a scalp trade and a day trade faster than what I am right now. Once I get that portion down, I should be good to go. And I need to work on trusting my areas a little bit more too, because I should have been in a short again. I should have re-entered, and I took that expense. And psychologically, trading live with you guys is not the easiest thing to do in the world. And what I don't want to show again is this, right? I'm really trying to avoid that. So I'm being over conservative in my trading right now. So those are the biggest things that I need to work on, right? And as traders, here's the thing, right? We're always developing into something. Okay. But that's what we're doing, is developing. Manifestation says, oh, well, if we just focus on something and we just really focus on it in our mind, it's going to come to us, right? Okay. Manifestation, how manifestation works, you got to understand reality. Reality is a mirror. It reflects back what you do, not what you think, not what you say, what you do. Therefore, manifestation is based upon what you do. But when habitual processes take over consistently, what you want in life, what you want to manifest, isn't the primary focus. It isn't the driver of action. Your habits are your driver of action. And so the world tells us, oh, well, we need to change our habits. We need to change what we do. We need to change our routines, right? We need to change these things. We need more discipline so we can create new habits. But what neuroscience is telling us is our thoughts and our emotions. This is what neuroscience is telling us. We get information from our environment, and that information triggers a thought and emotion. And neuroscience can't even tell which one happens first. It can't tell, is it thought or emotion? Thought or emotion? It doesn't know. It happens so quick. And then those thoughts and emotions trigger memories. Then the memory comes up, okay? And when you have that memory, it attracts other thoughts. And so now your mind gets flooded with thoughts. Well, the mind, the conscious mind, what we think of conscious mind, where we're thinking and we turn that thinking into action, can only focus on one thing at a time. So when the mind gets flooded with thoughts, the conscious mind is now offline. It can't act. because it's inundated with too much information. And that brings the subconscious mind online that houses all of our predictive behaviors. Everything that we do consistently is housed in that. So when the conscious mind comes offline because it's inundated with information, what comes online? The subconscious process. And it acts for us. And that's why individuals have issues with manifestation. And what the world tells us in the context of manifestation is not aligned to what neuroscience is showing us in the lab of what actually works and how this whole process works. So what we have to be able to do is bring the subconscious process offline. Do I ever want to manage a hedge fund? I used to. I actually ran a small fund myself with 8 other individuals. I had less than $250,000 in it, so I didn't have to be registered, right? And I did run that fund. I don't want to do that now. I have other ideas of what it is that I want to do. It's not about me anymore. It's not about me making money. It's not about me being highly successful. It's not about me having 3 houses and, fast cars and all of these toys. This is about me wanting to develop other people into what they want to manifest, what they want to have happen in their lives, and demonstrate to them how to do it. Not teach them, not give them advice, not, to literally demonstrate. This is how we do it. This is why I reiterate my mistakes so much. Not to get down on myself, not to say I did something wrong, not to continually point out mistakes, to demonstrate what it actually takes to create intentional action in your life. Because the subconscious processes and does not talk to the part of you that creates your intention or what you want to manifest. And since those two things don't communicate, when what you want to manifest, your intention goes offline because it's inundated from information due to the processes of the central nervous system, you can't act. And then you wonder why you don't manifest the things that you want to manifest. And then you feel stuck in life. And when you feel stuck in life, what happens? You don't move into your intention. You don't move where you want to go because now you try to fix being stuck. But you can't fix the subconscious processes. It doesn't work that way. The brain has an automatic process to change it for you. But you have to bring intention online, and you got to bring it into the present moment. And when you do those two things, that marks the subconscious processes for change automatically, not because of anything that you do. So that's already built into our humanity, our human condition. The process of change is already built in. We don't have to do it. We have to bring intention online in the present moment and act from it. And when we do that, everything else changes. And our actions change. And what does the environment do? What does reality do? It reflects back to us that change. And that's what changes our reality. I'll get off my soapbox so I don't bore anybody. Doesn't sound like I'm preaching. Hami, thank you so much for the subscription. I truly appreciate you. You guys are awesome. I so appreciate you guys, seriously. The amount of support and just the love and the camaraderie from this group of individuals that are finding me is just, it's mind-boggling. Thank you. Truly appreciate each and every single one of you. And I just hope that my demonstration helps you get to where you want to go. Can I stream at higher quality, Bharat? I'm going to work on that. I'm absolutely going to work on that because, I'm a slacker and I get it. my quality is low. It's like I'm a kindergartner trying to be a college professor. I can't even say it with a straight face, Barat. I tried. Let's see here. See, this is one of those other areas, right? I was talking and I should have been looking at this a little bit more, but check this out. We almost came back up in here into this high volume right here, this VPOC of this bar, right? And that's where we're looking for a possible continuation of the downside to come back in and test this low down in here. Well, thank you. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. I try. I mean, guys, I only talk about this stuff because at 17 years old, okay? You guys want to know a little bit about Tony's backstory? Do you guys even care? So I can tell you where this all came from and what I did when I was 17, if you guys want to. But you have to have a desire to know somebody's backstory. I'm not just going to give it to a cold audience that doesn't want it. Can I start posting a stream schedule? Connor, I have one on Twitch, but yeah, I'm gonna put one into Discord. I should have that posted this weekend. This weekend I should be much more consistent. I've been less consistent over the last few weeks. I knew that I had to get to Ohio at some point this summer. I didn't know it was going to happen this quickly. I knew that I had to do a few things this summer, but I should be able to be at a point this weekend where I can where I can hammer out a I could hammer out a schedule for you, and I'll be posting that into Discord. If you should already be a member, but if you're not, just do !Discord, and that will get you that schedule once it's posted this weekend. Let me do one more thing, and then I'll get into that backstory because you guys are saying you want it. All right, so I came from a very eclectic family. My father was one of the largest heroin dealers in the Pacific West Coast when I was growing up, and they used to have parties all the time. So he never had any money because he just partied away his money. But they used to give me margaritas, strawberry margaritas, when I was 4, so I would sleep. My dad was 27 and married a 17-year-old woman, a girl, I should say, and she was 19, just turned 19 years old when my mother sent me away to go live with my father. Absolute disaster. Okay, I'm telling you, okay, my backstory of my childhood, oh my God, right? So guys, I was an absolute mess, right? I lived in a small little town of 58 people in Oregon until I was about 12 years old with his dad, right? And then I moved to Southern California with a mom that never paid any attention to me. And so didn't care what I did. So I went from 12 years old to 58 people and 10,000 cows to Los Angeles and San Diego. Okay? Oh my God, I was an angry little gremlin, but I was completely messed up. I was so messed up as a kid, right? So messed up. But at 17 years old, I decided that I wanted to understand human nature. And I went on a quest, and I really wanted to understand human nature because I wanted to fix whatever was going on inside of me and make myself better, right? I had anxiety, I had depression. I went into the military diagnosed with PTSD. It wasn't the military that gave me PTSD. It was my childhood that gave me PTSD. Okay? That was my life. I learned to love myself. Out of all of that, I learned to love myself. And that was the key for me. And everything else started falling into place once that happened. But I had to learn how to do that because I wasn't loved as a kid. At 5 years old, my parents used to tell me that I was just such a terrible kid that they would, by the time I was 18, they would throw me in prison and lock and lose the key for the rest of my life. Right. And so, that's a curse, right? And you can curse kids, you can curse people, you can do all sorts of things in that context. But the abuse isn't what defines us. What defines us is what we do out of it. Exactly, Metal Trader. You are your edge. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You design yourself to be your own edge. That's the greatest edge in the market. You guys want to know what the most deadliest thing is in combat? I'll tell you what the most deadliest thing is in combat. It's a single well-aimed round headed down range because it's going to hit its target. If you just fire off a shot and you jerk the trigger and you move the rifle and you do all sorts of stuff, that bullet's going to go wherever. But you have a single well-aimed round headed down range, it's going to hit its target. It's the most deadliest thing in combat. Who's the individual or what is controlling the weapon to fire that round? The shooter. Who's the one that finds the edge for a traitor? The traitor. Can you train a shooter? Yes, you can. Can you trade a traitor? Yes, you can. But you have to learn to trade. You have to learn to train yourself. And that's not an easy thing to do. And it's why trading is so difficult, because it's one of the only professions out there that I know of that you have to train yourself, that you have to become the edge. Can you have people help you do that? Sure, absolutely, you can. Okay? But if you're doing it in the context of a strategy, you're learning their edge or what they want to sell as their edge, not your own. When did I start having real money? I started having real money in 2020 and 2010. 2010 is when I started having real money. Yes. 2010 is the first time that I broke 150 a year. And then from 2010 to 2019, I made anywhere between 175 to 385,000 a year. My best year was 385. I never did get past a year more than 385. And that was in 2018. So your definition of real money could be different than mine. You might say real money isn't until you make seven figures, right? I can say that there's not much in life that I can't do in terms of my upbringing and what it is that I want to do that I can't do with 250,000 a year. So I was trading and I was doing some consulting in what I do now, which is financial crimes investigations, but mostly trading. That was just kind of a side thing because I was only trading a couple hours a day and I was bored. Am I missing on the trade? In this context here, I don't feel like I am. We came close to my area of what I was looking for. We didn't quite come up into that area. I mean, we came up into the area, not quite where I wanted to go. And the time of day at 3:53, I understand that the market really doesn't close until about 4:45, right? But I'm still at that 4 o'clock range. I'm done at 4 because the market closes at 4:15 and opens up again at 5. Markets have changed a little bit. I'm not used to trading the afternoon hours. That's why I'm really not in this position right now. So I'm still expecting that 4 o'clock time for me to be done. And then at 4:15. So I got to train myself a little bit here for some of this because some of the stuff has changed over the last few years that I've been out of the markets. The LVN area, yeah, I mean, I don't see value right now. We're in a trending market condition higher. I don't see value. Now, do we have value in this shorter time frame chart here, most definitely. Absolutely. You can absolutely see the value in here, right? And you can say that there's an unfair high up here, most definitely. But I don't put value on that time frames. I put value here, and we're trending higher. LVN areas is not necessarily absorption. What we're looking for in LVN area is rejection, not necessarily absorption. You can't see absorption in a volume profile or in time. You see absorption here. This is where you see absorption. Now let's go back to this move and let's see what happened here. Okay. When we come over here and we came into this area, all right, we have to understand these 3 bars right here. All right. These are the 3 bars that are important. We came up, we broke out of this area, and we had a bar that closed in its top 1/3 range. Look at where the high volume is. The high volume is around the high, and the high volume is around the close. Okay. The highest volume is just below the close, but we have very high volume up here in the rejection area where we have the wick, right? Where buyers did not move the close into the high. And then right here, right at the close. So they were buying into the close, okay? Then price action comes up, but what does it not do? It doesn't break a higher high. But look, 1200 comparatively to 917, 557 comparatively to 550. So we have about the same amount of buyers as before, and we can't even break the high. And then price action comes down and closes within its 50% range. All right. Now we should be looking for a lower low. No lower low yet. Lower low. All right. Now we have a lower low. Now we have an area of resistance above us that if we test in here, we want to see what happens around this high volume area up here, and we want to see what happens around the high. So let's see what happens when we come back up in here to this area. Right here. And look, 414, less buyers than we had before. Less buyers. Okay? And if we have less buyers up here, what is it probably not going to do? Make a higher high. We come back here, we test the high, we close below. Anywhere in here, breaking through the open of the bar, not a bad short. And there's current price. And so the absorption, I don't look at it so much as absorption of buyers and sellers like a lot of people do. Because absorption, it's one of those words that you can define it differently than me. You can see it differently than me, right? So what I'm looking for is the rejection and the retest of the rejection areas. And when we get retest of the rejection areas, what's happening to buyers and sellers? Can you say that this is seller absorption up here? Possibly. What I see it is less buyers. Less buyers means we're probably not going to break highs. And since we opened here, possibly came down, came back up and made this high up here, didn't break the high, right? Didn't break this whole structure here, can't get back above where we were before, can't even get into the high volume area from before, we're probably going to move down once we get through the open of this bar and a down bar. Does that help? And of course, name it whatever you want to. Think about it, guys. Take the last word that Bharat just said, okay. Somebody had to have made that word and defined it at some point in time, and now we all follow that definition. Make your own words, create your own definitions. You're the trader, you're the edge. Call it what you want to. So you can build trust in yourself. Because there is no edge without trust. So now the question becomes, how does trust build? How do you build trust inside yourself? And each one of us is a little bit different. And how we build trust is a little bit different. And that's where it becomes individual work. And we have a nice little long brewing here. Let's see if it plays out. It's too late in the day for me to trade. And I'm a little tired anyhow, so I'm pretty much done. But watch this. Let's see if we can turn around and break out of this little volume area right up here. There's a support right here. We have a support right down here. What happens when we come up here? There it is. Now, do we hold this as resistance or do we break up higher? Look at our delta. Watch our delta here. We're going to come back and test where I just said we had support at. Right down here, that's the support area right there. See immediately buyers stepping into the market. The VPOC of this bar shifted up from that buying pressure, okay? But we still have that resistance from the open of this bar. Look at delta. Look at the high volume down here. Look at the low volume at the high. Less buyers up here, but it's a brand new bar. We don't have a lot of development. What's going on in the bar? We're coming in here. We're looking for support and resistance of this bar. So we just got to let it trade a little bit. Where's the resistance right now at the open? How do we know? Because they immediately traded down. Okay. And we have some support right here now at 84. There's our support at 84. If we get above 84 and we hold it, okay, we're probably going to break the open of this bar. But watch delta. See, as we're coming into the open here, delta's really not lifting up here at all. So watch this. Watch this carefully up here. Okay, coming right back down into the 84. Watch your delta. Coming up a little bit, right? But price action's coming down. Watch your 84. Watch your 84. Still holding a support moment. Look at your delta. Your delta's up here. Why aren't you up here at the open of the bar? Why aren't you up there at the open of the bar? Because they're selling into this right now. They're selling into this area. Anticipate this low to break. See your higher volume down here? Anticipate this low to break. This was support. We're going to need to find a lower area of support because there's too much selling pressure coming in here. The market orders are trying to lift us. We didn't break that low. What does that mean? We're still holding the support of 84. If I'd be doing anything in this market right now, I'm still holding on to that long from over here where we said we were going to be testing up here into this area. What's happening in the market right now? We're still holding that 84. And there's the drop. You see that break right there? There's the drop. It happened on the next bar. It should be anticipating that low to break. Where did we open up at? Right around the 84. Opened up right around the 84. Now look at the delta. Expect this bar to break the high. Not this high like we just did. Look at that delta. Get above the open. We can't even get above the high volume here. Look at the delta continue to raise. We're still testing into this area. See how we're collecting volume here? Anticipate this high to break. Boom. Where's our next test going to be? Our next test is going to be the close of this previous bar. Delta isn't visible? Well, that's helpful, isn't it? That's rude. Well, shoot. Now, how do I get... See, this is the problem, right? Multi-streaming. How do you get delta visible? How do we get delta visible where TikTok can see everything as well? I guess we're going to have to go like that. So there we go, right? And then what do we do? We came right into that area I was talking about and we broke the highs. That, my friends, is how you scalp. And you don't need a bias. You don't need a bias. You don't need to know that this market was going to go up. You don't need to know that market structure of anything else. This is just a scalp position, and that's all it is, right? And it was based upon price, how support resistance is happening within the bars. So let's do the support resistance again. We come right into the high volume in here, acting as support, immediately break higher, and look at the delta. The delta's up. Okay, so what are we anticipating price action to do? We need to watch this. We need to see some support and resistance in here. Here's our resistance up here. Let's see if we come back down and test into this higher volume up here. Where can you learn AMT of this level? The only place, honestly, that I know that you can learn it from this level is here. And I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm not trying to sound like, whatever. Just here. Just watch me. Just watch the videos. Watch the videos. Come on. Watch, hold on a second.
Sorry, I know you're streaming, but did you schedule some sort of house treatment? There's just people in the backyard, with a blower of some sort.
I see how's it going.
There's a blower of some sort. I don't know.
Give me just a second. I'm gonna be right back. And hold that thought. I will be right back. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Grateful that the kid is on top of it, but common sense. And I'm saying that he's 17. At 17, I had zero common sense. So I get it. All right. So in this context of reading this information, right? It's just time in the charts. That's all it is time in the charts. Okay. What the demonstration does for you here is it gives you an idea, right, of what type of time to put into the charts. Because I know when I first went to go learn this stuff, right, the first thing is that I did was I took those off and I was just here. And I'm like, what do these numbers mean? I don't know. I don't get it, right? And then a few months later, or a year later or so, they started bringing out these histograms. This is in 2011, 2012 when they first started creating this technology, right? You guys have all of this at the moment, right? So now we're here, okay? And the person that said, so-and-so said that, order flow's irrelevant. Well, was the little sequence that I just did here, was that irrelevant? Irrelevant to their methodology, possibly, especially if they're looking for pullbacks into particular areas and those type of things. This could absolutely be irrelevant to their trading style. But irrelevant as a methodology itself, absolutely not. This is like the tea leaves, right? This is where we get to see the participants and we get to see what's going on. So what are the participants telling us right now? Well, price action came up here into these highs, right? We're even unable to break those highs right now. Where are we going into? Right into this range in here. So let's watch current price and volume and see what this market's telling us. See the delta right here? We got a little bit of resistance here. See all that volume accumulating around the high? We anticipate it to break it. Why? Because that volume accumulation. Now price action's coming off. Where we're probably going to come to this high volume right here. See how we immediately came down to it and buyer response? We got support right here. But we have resistance here. Price action's not even able to get back up to the high. We're retesting support down here again. As support breaks, we're going to course, come down here, test the open of this bar, and go where? Probably test this high volume right here. Why? Because the price is going to attract itself to high volume and see if there's any buyers down there. Because right now, there's no buyers coming into the market. But if you notice, there's no sellers either. And until the sellers come into the markets, we're not going to break this area, anticipate buyers to hold, buyers to come through here and retest the high. This is how you should be thinking. How you think creates perception. Perception is what draws action. And see, we didn't break the highs. Now we're right back here again. Watch your delta. See if your delta comes off. If your delta comes off, break below your close. Testing where? To the high volume down here. Back to where buyers were once strong, which is now resistance. Do we get through it? If so, we're going to come up here into the high volume and test up in here. We need to see how the sellers respond when price action comes back up here. But look, see how VPOC shifted again? Because more time was spent down here, more volume is spent down here. Now we're holding here, right? If we hold this area, buyers to retest up here. Watch your delta. See how your delta is green right now? Anticipate buyers to come back in here and test up into this area. Right here. Let's see if it happens. See your delta's coming off. You break through the open. Here's your buyers right down here in this area. Do buyers hold support? If so, we're going to see them in delta. We're going to see this in delta. See, we have limit orders down here buying. But the delta matters because it's the market-driven orders that we want. Because the market-driven orders are going to determine, do we break the high or do we break the low? See how your market-driven orders weren't able to get into the open of the bar? Not even into the open of the bar. We couldn't even get to the open of the bar. You really think we're going to get to the high? This delta drops again. See price action come back down, test into this area, and make lower lows. The market's strong. Get back through the open. Price action pops up. Delta didn't follow there, but your delta's even. We came right into the area here where sellers were. We're not seeing a lot of sellers in the market at the moment, but we're not seeing the buyers step in. See that? We're not seeing the buyers step in. And price comes down and tests, and we see sellers come into this market down here. That's where your bar's going to break. Now, we're not in an area here, okay? We're not in an area of interest or anything along those lines. We're just reading the tea leaves of the markets. We're reading the market participants and watching how price reacts to what we're seeing within the participants. That's it. But think about it. Think about watching your bid and ask. So if you're watching a spread in a stock and you see the bid and the ask, what you're doing is you're just watching how the bid and the ask moves and how price updates itself based upon the movement of the bid and the ask. Why the bid and the ask? Because that's where the participants are. And if there's no participants in the markets, that's where your money money maker is. You're not your money maker, but your market maker, right? And so whatever decision they make, the participants or the market maker, that's going to be reflected in the price. The price is the result of the auction, not the cause of the auction. The participants are the cause of the auction. Are there any questions about that? And I don't want anybody thinking that, I'm talking about, I'm just arrogant and those type of things. I just haven't seen anybody recently on the internet that understands order flow in a way that I'm teaching it here. Doesn't mean that they don't exist. I just haven't found them. As you guys know, I have no problems recommending somebody else. I recommend Vito all the time. Because I know he's good. He's not going to lead you guys astray. See your delta? What is price doing? Couldn't break the lows. Look at the low volume at the lows here comparatively to the volume over here. That's not sellers in here. That's buyers. And there's your buyer support for your market orders coming in, retesting the area up here. And what are we seeing up here? Right now, less buyers. And if there's less buyers, we're probably not going to break back up above these areas. But let's see what happens. Tried to break, immediately came back down again. They broke it on market orders too. Look at that. They broke it on their market orders, immediately came back down again. What happens when price comes back down through the open? Vito is TikTok. Let me see if I can find him real quick. Yeah, he's right here. That's Vito. He has openings for mentorship programs. He's the former floor trader from the oil pits in New York in the 90s, early 90s. He learned from the professionals and the institutions. He was a market maker. He was one of those guys. Uh-oh, well, that doesn't help. I forgot about that. Well, shoot. I'll talk to him about that, see if we can't get him on Instagram as well. That way he's posting on both, and then you can get a hold of that information. He's also doing some posts and stuff too when it comes to gold and different things along those lines. So we should probably get him into Instagram, seeing that that's a big market for you guys over there, especially because you can't trade the US markets, but you can probably trade gold. Let's see here. Here's his gold post. I'll just put it up here so you can see it. You can see kind of what he's doing. I can't find the gold post. I think it was DS Futures that had the gold post. Do I use Deep Dome? I do not. Cause I don't. And the only reason why I don't use Deep Dome, to be frank with you, I just don't know how to use it. I don't know how to read it. I have it. I've tried. Here, I'll show you that I have it, right? Just so we're on the same page. Authenticity is extremely important to me, especially in this industry, because there's some jokers out there. It's updating at the moment. I have to close deep charts in order to do it. So here, I'm just going to run this over here real quick. I think it's just going to load in the old version. Right here. So I just don't know how to read this. Not in a way that I'm able to take any of its information and make my trading better. If that makes sense. So I have it. I watched it for a little bit. I thought I had an idea on it after a couple days of watching it. And then I did a replay on it with that idea, and I got smoked. Absolutely smoked. And so I don't know. I think I'm okay in my own trading right now, that I really don't need to add another tool. Yeah, it's basically a heat map. That's exactly what it is. It's a heat map designed by the Deep Dome guys with the Deep Charts guys with the scalpers and those individuals out there. This is interesting. This is not this. This is interesting, right? We're coming up here into this area. See the higher volume up here? Okay. Anticipate the high to be tested. Not necessarily broken, to be tested. There's your high, tested, right? Watch your delta. That delta is going to tell you if we're probably going to break it or not. Looks like we're going to break it. Look at your delta coming off. See how it immediately came off? We have support right in here in this area. Testing it again. Delta did not raise. We're probably going to test the open of this bar. Higher probability that the open of this bar is going to be tested before we test the high. Look at your down delta. See how delta came down there? Couldn't even come down. Now we're back into the highs. Now anticipate the highs to break. Why? Because delta came down and couldn't even get down into the open. Okay? These are the ways of reading this around your areas. And there's your break. I think I'm definitely going to do some gold streams in the future. My whole focus right now is getting through an evaluation and getting into funded. That's my first step. If I want to demonstrate how to do this, I need to be able to hit the goals, right? This is why I'm not trading in cash. I could trade in cash, but trading in cash isn't going to help you guys. Why is trading in cash not going to help you? Because the way I trade in cash and I demonstrate my cash trading is not going to be the same thing that you're going to be using in your funded accounts and the rules that you have to follow. Two different things. Aspect, how's it going? It's good to see you. And so my first step is to get funded. My next step is, after funded, to get a payout. And then I need 5 funded accounts. Once I have those things, now I legitimized? There's a great word for you. Yes, I legitimized myself in this industry in the context of my demonstration. Okay? Now I've earned myself clout in the industry because of what I did, right? Because the intention and the actions align to the result. And once I've done that, now we can start adding things. How do I differentiate pullback and rejection? That depends on area. That depends on structure. Okay? So rejection is always going to happen from an overall area. Okay? I'll give you another example from a higher time frame. Rejection is always going to come from structure. A pullback, that's something you can scalp. Jerry, how's it going? It's good to see you. How's it going? I hope you had a good weekend. So that's the difference. Rejection always comes from a higher time frame perspective within structure. A pullback is merely something you're going to scalp. And so a pullback is what? Here's structure. Here's your rejection. You're looking for pullbacks to continue your movement of your higher term chart. What is your higher term chart telling you right now? Daily is way up. We're back above the close of the prior bar on the 4-hour and above the open of the 4-hour. Should be hunting long positions right now, looking for pullbacks to go long. What is your hourly telling you? Price action has made 2 lower lows, 2 lower highs, right? And now we're trading above the close of the last up bar. Look for a possible continuation play to the upside. Now you have direction. Now you're waiting for pullbacks. So here's a pullback. So let's watch this. I'm going to shift from Atasa to deep charts from like 22 August. What do you think about the new deep game introduction of deep charts and the deep dome? I don't know. I haven't paid attention to the deep game and any of that stuff. I don't get involved. I'm probably going to move over to TradingView this next month. I'm going to stick with this until I get funded, and I'm probably going to transfer over to TradingView for a couple of different reasons. Haven't made that decision yet, but that's what I'm probably going to do. And if I do, then it doesn't really matter what the whole deep gamma and those type of thing is. Now, I haven't looked at the deep gamma. I just got my charts updated today for the changes with deep charts, so I don't know. I'm planning on streaming and playing around with that this weekend a little bit, but there's a lot of things I have to do um to before I can start playing with it. So it depends on how long it takes me to get all my stuff that I have to get done. Why aspect? Because I'm working on things. I'm working on things and I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too early. I don't. Um, just know I'm working on things. That's it. I'm always doing something. Let's see here. What do we got here? I'm watching this pretty closely here. So, how do we know if it's a pullback or rejection? Well, we got a pullback going on right now in the down, and it's looking like we have rejection. I think this market's going to go up from here. I have a feeling that we're going to go up from here. Price action came right back down into this high volume in here. Did you just notice that little down move it just made, and buyers immediately supported it? We have to get through the open of this bar, and we haven't done that yet. Delta's still down, back through the high volume. Watch this. Let me watch this. Low volume on the low, and there's the break of the high right there. Okay? It was quick and it was swift. The sellers entered, but let's get your delta. Your delta's lifting here. Watch that delta. Come back down, test into the high volume. Market strong. See the test in here. See your delta. It's decreasing in here. We can't break a low. I'm anticipating this high to be tested. It's a test of the high. Not enough buyers there. Your delta's still down, right? We come right back into the high volume down below. The buyers immediately respond, right? But now sellers are responding off the highs. Be careful of your long positions. Get very, very aggressive in your stops if you're long in this area because of what price action is doing right now based upon what the participants are doing. See your delta's decreasing here? Now I'm looking for the lows to break. And there they go. So this is just a continuation of the pullback. Wait for a new area. Where's your next area? Well, here, came up. We have this area right in here. Get your high volume area in here that could possibly act as support. Let's see if we come down into this area. Already seeing some support there. Immediate buying as soon as it came in here. It's only moved a few ticks, but immediate buying as soon as it came in here. How am I going to do order flow on TradingView? Because I'm going to buy the TradingView that allows me to do order flow. And I might still use deep charts here. I might still use and look at the whole gamma thing, and I might still do that. But I might have behind the curtain, if you will, this. With some nifty little gadgets on it. No, I'm not saying you're not going to see deep charts. That's not what I'm saying at all. I might still keep the same setup that I have at the moment. Okay. I'm going to add TradingView into the mix. Okay. Now, just because I add TradingView in the mix doesn't mean that I'm going to change anything that's happening here that you see on the current screen. Okay. I might even remove this and put something else in this spot that's more helpful, which might be some version of this. I don't know yet. I'm working on stuff, like I said, and I can't let too much information out because I don't know exactly what it is that I'm going to be doing yet, but I got ideas. I got ideas and I'm working on some things on my spare time. I'm not planning on using Gex levels. The reason why I'm not planning on using Gex levels because Gex levels is designed for bias, and I don't need help with bias. No, I'm not going to get into what it is I'm going to be doing on this yet. Not yet. Hey, Broad, thank you. You know, it's what I'm looking at doing is I think I'm going to have Vito on the stream at times, and he uses TradingView. Okay. And he uses some of the things on TradingView that we do not have in deep charts. And so I'm going to, in order to be able to discuss with him and work with him, I'm going to need TradingView in order to be able to do that, right? And in that context of TradingView, I'm going to need that information because deep charts doesn't have what he's using in TradingView. They just don't have it. So that means that I'm going to have to do something in order to be able to make that happen if I'm going to go in that direction, right? Make sense? Yeah, exactly, bro. I mean, he and I look at this thing similarly enough that we really think we can do something together. And both of the reason for doing this in the first place is just the sheer fact that we really we watch social media and we're like, what are these people doing? This is what's being taught. And I'm not saying that to be mean to anybody. I'm not saying that to talk down to anybody at all or to talk myself up or anything else. It's there's been snake oil salesmen in this industry from day one. All right, from day one. And it hasn't changed. And you know, individuals are really good at selling something and they're going to sell something. It's just what they do, right? Well, you get really good salesmen out there and they're teaching information and they sell things. We're not trying to sell anything. We're trying to demonstrate. We're trying to show. We're trying to do something different. And so, in that context, Vito has information that I don't have, that I can't supply to you guys. I don't have his exact experience or skill set. And I know that skill set will be highly valuable to this community. So to make that highly valuable content, I'm going to have to make some adjustments. But this is starting week 6, guys. Week 6 of me streaming. My 3rd week of trading live in front of an audience. We should be expecting some changes to come down. Because changes reflect growth. Let me say that one more time. Changes reflect growth. And what we all want is growth. Vito and I are going to have discussions this week. He is out of town right now, but when he gets back into town, we will be having discussions. Hey, Eugene, thank you so much for the follow. I truly appreciate you. I do read TikTok, chat. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay. It's not going to be big changes. No, it's not going to be big changes at all. Nothing crazy. Different levels, different areas. Not that the auction market theory stuff is changing. What I mean by, I shouldn't say different. Let me adjust my language. Additional areas. Additional. Tesla? D Blues, what about it? What are you looking at in terms of Tesla, my friend? And so, no, it's not going to be major changes. We're not going to be changing the framework to anything, right? If that's what you're worried about, that's not going to happen. The framework is going to stay the same, but we're going to have information from an institutional trader, flat out, right? I mean, a former floor trader for the 90s is an institutional trader. So we're going to have that information. So we're going to have some institutional based areas or areas where institutional traders are interested in trading around. That's going to be the biggest addition. And be able to put those areas on my charts or to do anything with them, I need TradingView because I can't get that information on deep charts. And TradingView is set up in such a way that I should be able to trade from my phone when I travel or a laptop or something like that. So when I travel, I should be able to trade and stream with you guys still. And I will be traveling more often in the next year or two. And especially if this takes off, I'm going to be traveling all over the place. What'd you do, Jerry? You made the bot mad. What happened? I didn't design the bot, so don't yell at me. Well, you can yell at me. It's okay. But I didn't design the bot, so I can't fix it. All right. So there's that area that I drew, right? Off the pullback. Okay. So off the pullback, anticipating where the pullback could go once we started breaking down from this structure, right? Price action came down here. What did it do off the lows? Created some rejection down through here. No strong volume at the lows, right? Came right out the area, and now we're trading right back into the upper area. Here's your scalping. Bots tripping? Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I had an individual create that. I'm going to go back and talk to them tomorrow and see what we can't do about getting it off of its drugs so it's not tripping anymore. And somebody once wrote a song, "Well, I don't like the drugs, but the drugs like me." Pretty much. All right. So we're coming right back up to this area again, and now we're just resting here in this range. Are we going to break out to the upside, or are we going to come back down and we're going to test here into this lower structure? Now we got two areas. This is a place that you can scalp around when it comes to value. Short, long, short, long. Anticipate price action to come back up and test around the 29.25. Big spark, exactly. Yes, 100%. And we'll have a party, and everybody will sing Kumbaya because they'll all be happy. Unless they have anxiety and they're smoking sativa or something like that. Puff puff pass. It's so funny. So, my former wife, when she was pregnant, she was having a very, very, very bad day, and we had it figured out. She was not feeling well at all, and we were trying to figure out baby names and stuff, and she just wasn't feeling well. And so I'm a smartass, right? And so I'm like, okay, we'll just make her laugh. And so we're coming up with baby names, and Puff Puff Pass was one of the ones that came up. Naming a kid Puff Puff Pass. What was some of the other names? Satan or Natas. Natas Satan backwards. These things, of course, you wouldn't ever do, right? But could you imagine, though, naming a kid Fuck, middle name And so when you put the first name and the middle name together, right? They knew they would definitely know that they were in trouble. It wouldn't be a question. But could you imagine seeing the faces on like a substitute teacher or the teachers in general, right? When they're looking at that first name and then what they're going to do with it? I don't know. I just think it'd be hilarious. That's how my imagination works, Big Spark. I apologize. That's actually illegal, Daredevil. Yeah, it really is, right? And of course, never do it, right? But oh my God, the names that came across that board that day, and she was just laughing hysterically. And we're doing it is like a 3-4 hour process that we're doing, and she started feeling much better and those type of things, right? That's really what it was all designed for, was to get her to start feeling better, right? And so it worked. It absolutely worked. I hear from order flow traders that delta calculations in TradingView is inaccurate. I don't know. I have no idea. I have never used TradingView before. People talk about inaccuracies in trading all the time. Look, we can only trade what we perceive anyhow, right? We can only trade the information that's in front of us. And so, how do we know that any of this data is accurate? That's my thoughts on it. This is why individuals talk about, they're running my stops and they're doing this and they're doing that. And, everybody has a reason or a thing that's going on, or this isn't accurate, or this isn't right. And, those type of things. And some people do studies, right? And they do see errors and things, and we can pick up on those and use different information later on, right? But when you're looking at this here and you're looking at what's going on here and price action is at the open on strong delta, something's lying. Delta's either lying in terms of market buying market orders are stronger than selling, or limit orders or something else is going on because price is not updating the way that you would expect delta to update. Well, inaccuracies in delta, if you're using it that way, isn't really going to matter too much, right? But if you're looking at delta divergences or something along those lines, now that accuracy matters. So my thought is this: if accuracy of information or data matters to you, learn how to run the tests in order to see how well it's actually working. Your mindset is the real leverage. Big Spark, you're absolutely correct. You're your own edge. The only edge you can ever have in the market is yourself. That's it. Data inaccuracies, this is irrelevant, that's good, this is bad. It's all based upon perception. You can only trade your own perception. That's it. And if your perception's not aligned to profitable trading, guess what? You got to shift your perception. That's not easy to do. It's why trading is so difficult, because the world doesn't teach us how to do that. Change your perception. They say, oh, you got to fix, or you got to heal, or you got to change, or you got to alter. You need discipline and motivation. And what they don't look at is what neuroscience tells us to do. Neuroscience tells us exactly what to do and how to do it. And if we follow the process of neuroscience, then we can adjust our perception. And when our perception shifts, our results are going to shift. And we just keep on testing our perception until we get it aligned to the results we're looking for. And now you become your own edge. That's what I keep trying to tell people. You got to become your own edge. Trust me, I'm telling you guys, flat out, right now, these results right here in this evaluation was not done because of indicators. It was done the way I perceive information that I read in the context of order flow and auction market theory, plain and simple. I can't teach you how to do that because you're going to see different things in the charts. What I can do is demonstrate a framework to you, and you can utilize that framework to create your own perception and then test your own edge. And practice your own edge. And make sure you're doing the time of practice. Don't take Derek Jeter's baseball bat and expect you're going to hit like Derek Jeter. If you want to hit like Derek Jeter, you need his skill. Same thing with LeBron James or anybody else that's great out there. You can't use their tool and expect it to give you their skill. You've got to develop that skill yourself. And when you do, now that skill becomes your edge. If you can't control your impulse, the market will control your outcome. I love that. I have never heard that before, but I love it. 100% correct. And controlling your impulse isn't even something you can really do either. It's much more of, you do. It's much more being aware of it and choosing not to participate in its fuckery. So you can participate in your own fuckery. Excuse my language today. I'm kind of on fire. And I was a jarhead, so what else are you going to expect from me? Remember I was talking about the rotation when I created this area right back here, right? And then I created this area up here. And what are we getting? The rotation in between the two areas. Why? Because buyers and sellers are not aggressive in this market right now. And so your market makers are playing the edges, looking for participants to enter the market. And that's what happens when you turn into a range-bound market. And most individuals will turn around and try to, like right now, right? They'll be looking for the long position in the middle of the range, right? And what happens if they're looking long or short here? It doesn't even matter. It's going to move back up into this area and it's going to stop them out. It's going to move down to this area and it's going to stop them out, right? Now they're getting stopped out in the range because they can't trade chop. You got to be able to recognize where the range is coming into the market before it actually is established. But look at that low volume up there at those highs. Extremely low volume up there. Comparatively. Now let's see what happens when we come down to this area. Right? Anticipating if it comes down to this area that buyers are going to come in at some point in time and respond. And you're going to see immediate rejection out of this area. Just like we saw it down here. And as Vito would say, don't diddle in the middle, right? If it's in the middle of the range, don't mess with it. Okay? Wait till it comes into the actual areas of the range itself, the outer areas of the ranges. And that's where you want to diddle. Not in the middle. Big Spark 420, I love it. Absolutely love it. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. And thank you for the insights too. Truly do appreciate you. It's good to hear common market sense coming into the chat. My little thing's off over here, isn't it? It's because I put that other monitor up there. I don't like it there. I'll have to adjust that later. Whatever. Let's see what we got. Hey, Leighton, how's it going? It's good to see you. So let's see what happens if we come down here. Doing great, man. I had a good London session. Good. Didn't catch the longs during New York AM. You know what? It's okay. I caught the long and got out basically at a break-even trade. I was long from 38.40, somewhere right around there. The sixes. So the 640s, 630s. I actually went short this morning at around the 30 range, the 630s. Picked up a couple $100 there on that short just because it was in the longer term area for value down here. And then I turned around and went long and got shook out of my long before it broke out. It's ridiculous. I know. But then I was targeting the 29,000 and then also targeting, and I talked about this in the live this morning. I was also targeting the 960s for the long too. Yeah, I mean, it was good hunting on the entries, right? It was just bad trade management. I managed it like it was a scalp and not as a longer term. And all longer term charts, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the daily is all telling us long, and I just didn't hold. So, value area high was also at, yes, exactly. Value area high was also at VWAP. Not only that, that's a great call, but so was initial balance. The first half hour of the market was right there too. All just like set up in confluence all at the same time, and it's just like, long, right? You don't really have a choice but to do it. But then, of course, it's all about trade management at that point in time. And well, I gaffed that this morning, big time. And then I was up around $500 on the New York session this morning, and then I just had like it was about $60-$70 expense. I guess it was a little bit more than that, but I went short off of my area from a retest, and it just broke the highs, and I went ahead and put a stop up there of like $64-$70, whatever it was, and it ended up stopping me out, and then it came down, and it was like, it's just one of those days. You're unfortunately not home, so I couldn't catch some longs till next time. Yeah, exactly. I mean, here's the thing, right? The market's always here. Moves are always here, right? You didn't miss anything. It was somebody else's opportunity. You'll find yours. You'll get in. It's all good, my friend. All good, homie. And right now I'm just looking at this range I just put in. So a little while ago, I put in the yellow line that's up there. This one right up here. And then I put this in just a few minutes ago. I mean, a little bit longer than a few minutes ago now, but right down in here, right? And so that's where it started coming down in. And then, put it in before it actually hit here, and then it rejected, came right back up here to this area. And now I'm waiting for it to come down here into this area again. But you don't want to mess around in the middle. As Vito would say, don't diddle in the middle. Should we suggest how to come out of scarcity mindset to abundance mindset? What's your current belief system? Like, what do you believe? Like your true, like, true beliefs. I mean, do you have a religious background, spiritual background, anything along those lines? Now you're making me go into my other work. What I started doing in January before I started streaming. This is good. I like this. But I want to understand your core base before I say anything, Ram. Because it doesn't matter what I think, it matters what you believe. And we need to start from there. Spiritual, yes. Okay, beautiful. So spiritual, like the universe. What do you believe about the universe, for example? We won't use the word God. We'll use the word universe, right? Vito, how's it going? It's good to see you. I had kind of a rough day. I was long from 640s, 638, 640 this morning, somewhere right around there, and I got shaken out of my position. Not like you, my friend. Having a hard time holding on to my trades. And I was targeting, you're gonna like this. I was targeting for the upside. And I mentioned this in the chat this morning, and well, in the stream this morning at about 10:30, 10:40, that be looking around the 964 area for a target to the upside, and above that 29,000. Yeah, I read the post. I did a couple times. And I saw your trade. We need to get you on here is what we need to do. Pina colada Monday, 100%. Yes. Yes, you have your pina colada, I'll have my mango margarita, and we'll be good to go. So Ram, this is something we might have to talk about off stream, because if you're having a scarcity mindset and like I need to understand what that experience is like for you, right? And then I need to understand what it means to have an abundance mindset, but I need to understand it through your terms, not through my own. And then I need to understand a little bit about what you believe, because here's the thing, right? If you have a belief that it's not about beliefs and it's not about changing beliefs. It's about structuring, it's about aligning what you want to your current belief system. Because if you can do that, then it's not about, you don't have to change anything because you came into alignment. What you have is some sort of scarcity or something along those lines that's happening that's not that's bringing you, or you're focusing on the negative of the side of the trade that you want. And by doing that, that's an alignment issue. And we just need to get you aligned. No, this isn't Ninja. No, this is Deep Charts. This is Deep Charts, and I have Trading View over behind the curtain that you can't see on the screen because I just don't have enough room for it. How was your trip, Vito? And how long are you staying in Albany for? G. Henry, thank you so much for the subscription. Truly appreciate you. You guys are amazing. I appreciate all of the support. Thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh, you just got back? Oh, you're already back. Okay, well, goodness, that was just a little day trip for you then. Just a little hop, skip, and a jump. I don't think I'm going to trade Asia session tonight. I'm pretty tired. I want to get some sleep. I got a lot of work to do as well, so I need to get some sleep and some rest tonight. I had a really long weekend. But I will be back trading the Asian session tomorrow. You be on for London? Yeah, I yell at the governor. Did it work? So Ram, hit me up on a DM on Discord. Let's sit down and have a conversation about that, okay? You know what, Leighton? Trading London is not a bad deal. I traded London a little bit last night, actually. I do. I like the London session. Definitely like the London session. I'm with you on that. Connection loss to what? Beautiful. Is Deep Chart the best for trading futures? There isn't a best for futures trading. It's what you need, what you want to use, and then finding the tools that are aligned to that, so you can create you and turn you into your own edge. Yeah, it can move fast and it can move slow, and then it can move fast and it can move slow again. And oh yeah, it's got all the emotions. I love it. I don't think there's a best platform out there. I mean, I have Bookmap, I have Deep Charts, I've got Sierra Charts, I've got a lifetime license to Ninja. I mean, I got platforms all over the place. I'm getting TradingView. Well, I have TradingView, but I'm getting another version of TradingView. Sorry, I'm trying to message somebody real quick. My volume was on. Here, hold on just a second. Vito, I hear you on that, sir. I absolutely hear you on that. That's kind of my technology too. I will not be trading the Asian session today, CRX. I will be tomorrow though, and the rest of the week. I had a really long weekend, and I'm going to get some rest tonight and trade there. That's one of the reasons why I'm not practicing right now either. I'm just tired. And I really don't like to trade when I'm tired. I'll miss things and I'll irritate myself, and I just don't want to deal with it. So, but I will be getting back into the swing of things tomorrow. I just need kind of a day to just rest, relax, just chill, get myself back together again for the rest of the week. Sounds good, Vito. We will be in touch. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. So no, not trading the Asian session today, but we'll be back trading the Asian session tomorrow. I apologize for the delay. I was not anticipating going to I was anticipating going to Ohio. I just didn't think it was going to be this soon, and it was a long weekend. A long weekend. A lot of driving, seeing people I haven't seen for years. 3, 4, 5 years. Yep, it's always good times. And on that note, market's now closed. I'm not going to practice tonight. I'm just tired. Anybody have any questions? Any comments? Any concerns? Anything you would like to discuss? Hey, Leighton, sound good. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be here tomorrow. I'll be trading from 10 to 11 a.m. New York time. I will catch you tomorrow evening, and then I will be on around 3 p.m. tomorrow, doing some practicing and those type of things, and then the Asian session tomorrow night. Should have Vito with the Asian session tomorrow. I'm not sure if we will be if I will be able to get him on the stream tomorrow, but I'm hoping sometime this week, if not next week. Ram, absolutely. As always, right back at you. You have yourself an amazing day. Sounds good, Leighton. I'm looking forward to it too. All right. Well, there's no other questions. I'm going to stick around for a few minutes, but everybody, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for just the comments, the camaraderie. You know, you guys are just everyone, not just guys, right? Ladies, gentlemen, all inclusive. You know, um, thank you so much for being such a great group of individuals. Philip, are you trading on a real broker or with a prop firm? When I started this project 5 weeks ago, trading live again, I was on a cash account, so it's brokerage. But most individuals are on these prop accounts, and so I'm trying to demonstrate how to pass an evaluation on a prop account, and this is where I'm at right now on that journey. That's been the last 2 weeks of my trading. And so I am on a prop firm right now on 150,000 select. I do have a cash account that I can trade. But right now I'm just focusing on this and demonstrating how to do this. I didn't trade on Wednesday or Friday. I was leaving. I did a little bit of trading Thursday in the Asian session. It was the first time I traded live in the Asian session in the NASDAQ. I'd never done it before. So that was my first day of trading. And then this was, I was still on the minis. I took an expense of about $13.50, something right around there. I was up a little bit on the day. I took an expense of about $13.50. Realized that that's too much for these accounts. So I went on Sim. My next position was like a $1,600 revenue position. So I ended up the day up, but of course that was Sim, not in the account. But that was all live. You could watch that video and see that transpire. And so yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And that's what I'm working on when it comes to this project. I hope that helps answer your question, Philip. Any other questions? Beautiful. Well, everybody, tomorrow morning, 10 to 11, I'll be trading in the US session live on stream. And then tomorrow, we're going to be practicing and doing stuff around 3. And then trading the Asian session tomorrow evening. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Truly, truly, truly appreciate you. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate your comments. Appreciate your support, the subscriptions, the follows, the likes, all of it. So appreciate each and every single one of you. And until next time, be safe, be kind, and know that you are loved. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy.